everybody, happy Thursday. Now today's question is one that I received on the website. You know, KatieMorton.com, the website. Also, are you subscribed to this channel? I put out mental health videos twice a week. Make sure you hit that subscribe and notification button. You don't want to miss them. But let's jump into today's question. Dear Katie and Kenyans, I'm not sure how to explain if I would be believed or understood, for I often do not understand it myself. In the past, there are several incidents of abuse, many of which I'm working on in therapy. I'm so glad. I find slow, painful healing as I process through these traumas, but there's this thing. I don't look at it or talk about it. I pile it into a black trunk. I lock it and shut it and put it on a shelf in the very back of the closet. Every so often, the shelf gives way and it crashes down and it's a mess and I clean everything up again. I was sexually abused by a woman. I feel disgusted and really messed up. I often fear that I'll become like my abuser. My body is the same. I hold it in hostage in shame and hatred for that. I don't want to be a man, but I hate looking like a woman. People talk about abuse and rape from men. Is it more common and now finally getting more awareness than abuse from women? No one talks about the abuse that's done by women. How to be okay in your skin afterwards. Also, how do I become a good wife or a good mother? How do I not hate who I am and embrace, yes, those parts of me that look like her? How do I learn to trust women now? My own mother, my sisters, my friends, when this woman in my past took and broke so much. How can I heal when I can't bring myself to talk about it or confront it because it's just so disgusting and awful to comprehend? How is abuse by this woman so different than what I experienced with men? Why does it somehow seem so much more shameful and unspeakable? I thought this was a great question, and I want to just applaud the person who had the courage to speak about it and put it on the website, because I know often we're suffering in silence and we don't know how to talk about it, and we don't know what to do about it, and I'm glad that you have the website as a resource and you felt able to share. And the reason I believe it's more maybe shameful or hard to process through is because it's not talked about as much. I believe sexual abuse, rape, assault of any kind is not talked about enough. How much have we seen in the news recently where people from 30 years ago are finally feeling safe to come forward because there's safety in numbers and it's hard to come out on our own and tell someone that something happened because we fear that we won't be believed or that, our career could be ruined. We've seen a lot of that happening in the news, and I think it's important for us to understand that we need to embrace those who decide to talk about it. We need to support people who come forward because in numbers we can feel safe. And those numbers don't have to be just people coming out. It can be people who are there, people who saw it. Speak up, be heard, talk about it more. And as a result, the shame and embarrassment and the secrecy around it will slowly go away. Also, women are thought to be nurturing, loving, supportive. They're motherly in many ways. Women are seen as that. And I know that's a very traditional way of thinking, but we think that regardless because it's been in our society for a long time. And so when that is kind of gone against and we are shown pain and hurt and abuse from that nurturing and motherly type figure, it can cause cognitive dissonance. Remember, I had a video that came out about that where I explained why those things make us so uncomfortable when what we believe about ourselves and what we're shown in the environment don't meet. Ooh, it feels terrible. And this is kind of one of those examples. Okay, so what do we do? And the first thing that I would encourage you to do is start writing/taking notes about how you're different. What are ways that you look different? How do you act differently? What are your relationships like? I want you to, go into so much detail about anything and everything about you that makes you different, because it sounds like you're attaching yourself to her, believing that you are the same just because you're the same gender. And that's simply not true. So let's look for those differences, let's write about them, and let's highlight them. Also, I want to note that just because one woman did this does not mean that all women are terrible. That sounds a lot like black and white thinking, and I'll link in the description of my video about that. But I would encourage you to notice when you're having these thoughts, these essentially faulty thoughts, because they're not based in fact. We don't have any facts to show that all women are terrible and abusive. So notice when you're doing that and take some time to argue back. And the next thing I want to encourage you to do, as always, is work with a therapist. This was a trauma. Something terrible happened to you, and you need to have a safe space to start talking about it and processing through it at your own pace. And as always, the Courage to Heal workbook is amazing. It can help us heal from any kind of sexual abuse, and even goes into, in the later chapters, which I've talked about before, how to heal sexually so that you can have a fulfilling sex life with someone in a loving, nurturing way. And so